Hi there guys, and welcome to the latest episode of the Cryptoverse with me, Chris Coney, the founder of the Cryptoverse. The Cryptoverse is your regular dose of news and commentary on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. I'm also the founder of cryptoversity.com, the online school that pays you to learn about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. Find out more at cryptoversity.com. So let's get into it. Looking at the markets today. Straight off the top, we have Bitcoin up 5.7% on the day. We have Nemcoin slapping around, up 24% today. It was down quite a bit yesterday. I'm not sure what's going on there. And then that's pretty much it. The Dow and Ethereum down 2.5% roughly each. Still a bit of uncertainty surrounding that. And Emmer coin, EMER coin, up 95%. Wow, that's a big jump. So if you own some Emmer coin, then the thing about a jump like that is that you've almost doubled your money, whatever you had in there. So that's going to create a massive incentive to sell. So that's kind of how the markets work, right? Anyway, let's go on to the candlestick chart. I guess I'm going to focus less and less on the prices for the reason I said yesterday, is that the prices are the thing that everyone focuses on, but unless you're a speculator, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, the reason I look at Bitcoin's price primarily is because it's the price that will get the attention of the mainstream via the mainstream media. So whenever there's a massive spike in Bitcoin or whether there's a massive crash in Bitcoin, they declare it like as a stupendous investment gains, or they either declare Bitcoin dead. Either way, they're talking about Bitcoin in the mainstream media, and that's what I would like to see. So in terms of the price then, if you remember from yesterday, I was talking about this, well, what was a resistance line at $657. It's now closed above that yesterday, and now we've broken the high of yesterday. So to me, that's confirmation that we should now stick above that $657 mark. As I look at the screen now, it's at $671.95. That's cool. And then that means we should be heading up towards that other level that I've plotted at $776. Key thing to remember today is that there are only 8 days remaining until the Bitcoin block reward cuts in half. So I check out this website called bitcoinblockhalf.com, which has this nice big counter on it, and the specific date and time when the halving is going to happen. Now, it's not a specific date and time built into the blockchain. It says here, the block mining reward halves every 210,000 blocks. And because it takes roughly 10 minutes to mine a block, and I say roughly because we don't actually know when a block is going to get solved. You know, at the minute, if we look on Bitcoin Wisdom, in the top right hand corner it tells us that there's like 1.5 billion gigahashes in mining power. But if half of that turned off tomorrow, then of course the next block wouldn't get solved in 10 minutes. It would take a lot longer than that. And then of course the halving would take a lot longer than that because we have to get to block, well, whatever there is, 210,000 blocks. So you following what I'm saying here? The point is that the block reward for mining a block as a miner goes down from 25 bitcoins to 12.5. That then puts a stranglehold or a reduction in supply of bitcoins, which should naturally, in terms of supply and demand, push the price up. Let's see any other statistics here. It says the percentage of total bitcoins that have been mined is near enough 75%. So 75% of all the bitcoins that will ever be mined have already been mined. This is interesting. 30,000 more bitcoins left to mine until the next block halving. And check this one out. The number of bitcoins generated per day is 3,600. So if I take the current Bitcoin price of say $670 and I multiply that by 6,300 Bitcoins, that means that the overall mining industry is earning $2.4 million per day. Now, of course, that's not just one company, because depends who wins the block. It depends if it's part of a mining pool, depends how many people are in that mining pool, and so on. So $2.5 million per day. Wow. So if you multiply that by 365, it's $880 million a year the Bitcoin mining industry is worth in terms of revenue. Very interesting, isn't it? What else? Any other statistics I can quote for you? So that hash rate, 1.95 exahashes. So you've got gigahashes, terahashes, petahashes, and then exahashes. And there's something else I thought was interesting here. Bitcoin inflation rate per annum, 8.72%. Oh, that's huge. Bitcoin inflation rate per annum at the next block halving. There you go. 4.09%. So inflation rate. So that's like, when the central banks do their quantitative easing thing and they print more money or bring more money into existence, that does create inflation, because there's then more money chasing fewer goods. And that's the thing, every time new Bitcoins come into existence, there are more Bitcoins chasing the same amount of goods, right? So that's inflation. You need more Bitcoin to then buy the same amount of goods, all things being equal. Which is why it's a miracle when Bitcoin keeps going up in price, because a continuing issuing of Bitcoin creates more supply, right? So let's go into the news now. Courtesy of Bitcoin.com, we have in the featured news section, we have China to play a leading role in Bitcoin's future. We have new blockchain.com portal declares open world for business. Sorry, world open for business, the other way around. And then OTC trading, which is over the counter, an inside look at how whales move Bitcoin. And then in the main news, we have Turing Robotic reveals video of upcoming Sailfish OS phone. Is that operating system? What's the synopsis say? Turing Robotic Industries has pushed back its delivery date to July the 12th. However, in a recent newsletter to the fans, the company featured a video that shows the device running on the new Sailfish OS 2.0. I hope this is what I think it is. I was thinking about the Apple encryption versus FBI debate. Like, should Apple cooperate with the FBI in unlocking the phone of a terrorist and all that sort of stuff? And then Apple was like, no, because a backdoor for legitimate reasons is also a backdoor for illegitimate reasons, etc. And that then I thought, okay, so we're in the cryptocurrency space, right? We're in the blockchain space. We're all for decentralization so that it's incorruptible and so forth. So how do you do that with smartphones? Because that's the elephant in the room, isn't it? How many smartphones are out there? And isn't that the platform upon which this new world of freedom via technology is going to be based on? And if there's a centralization or single point of failure there, or 2 points of failure, and that's it, those 2 points of failure would be Apple and Google, Android, then the powers that be could corrupt those two things and have the ability to abuse anyone's mobile phone data, right? So I thought, okay, the solution is we're going to have to move to open source mobile phones. And you can have open source hardware, and that would be the one, right? So let's use the iPhone. If someone created the iPhone today and then they open sourced the hardware, that would mean that the value would move to the manufacturing process. And anyone could make a phone, or any manufacturer could make a phone based on the iPhone platform, but with their own little quirks and additional features, right? That's kind of how Android works, but it's the other way around. It goes from the software end. So the software is open source, but then the hardware manufacturers do their thing, if that makes sense. So maybe that's a flaw in my argument, because the fact that Android is open source, is Android open source? Don't quote me on that. I think it is, but you think that would make it more secure. But anyway, I'm gonna have to look into this because I haven't got my argument sorted. Anyway, I hope this is what I think it is. So which one of these? Let's see if there's any more news. Bitcoiners respond. How will the halving affect the Bitcoin price? Well, let's read that one, because it's this article's got a short shelf life, and I don't really like to do articles like that. I like to have a longer shelf life on them. However, this is a big deal. So Bitcoiners respond. How will the halving affect the Bitcoin price? And then it says here, back in May, Bitcoin.com received some intriguing answers when we asked a bunch of cryptocurrency enthusiasts what they would do if one Bitcoin reached a value of $10,000 US. Now, in yet another installment of Bitcoiners Respond, Bitcoin.com asked, how will the approaching block reward halving affect the Bitcoin price? The latest question was asked on various social media sites, from Facebook to Google+, concerning the reward change coming on the 10th of July. The questions were asked, hang on a minute, it's not the 10th of July, because if you want to verify this for yourselves, guys, go to bitcoinblockhalf.com, and then it will give you, you got to check that regularly, because like I said, depending on how well the miners do, depends on when the halving will actually happen. So there you go. So the questions were asked, what do Bitcoin supporters expect the price to do during the halving week? And can you estimate where it will be in value? Or do you think nothing will happen and it will just be an ordinary week? Here's what some cryptocurrency enthusiasts revealed. What do I think before we go on? Some people say that the price increase that should come from the block reward halving is already built into the price. It's difficult to say, isn't it? There's no way to know, which is why this opinion piece is has been written, right? So one thing that might happen is that I don't know what will happen. So let's just see what they'll say. I'm just going to hold on to my Bitcoin holdings. I'm not going to buy or sell any during the week before or the week after the halving, put it that way. And not that I sell any Bitcoin anyway, because I just don't do that. But I'm not going to buy any during the week before or the week after, just because I'm going to let the whole thing play out and then let some settling time happen. So here we go. Doug, Bitcoin enthusiast, said, there will be a price spike before, but not at the halving. A price drop after, but not below $500. All based on speculators. And then Caesar, Bitcoin enthusiast, said, hoping they publish leaked information about the Australian Bitcoin auction to see how high they paid as a preview of what minimum pricing to expect during and early after the halving. Randy, Bitcoin enthusiast, said, I expect we will see an increase in price for the next few months. The halving will be just one of the multitude of reasons for the increase in value. Now that Bitcoin is officially a safe haven, is it? All of the chaos lately and the coming election should bode well for Bitcoin. Well, we did an article the other day on is Bitcoin's not officially a safe haven, but so it is a safe haven in the sense that no one can get a hold of it, but the cryptocurrency space is still highly experimental, so it could all come crashing down at any minute. So I wouldn't exactly call that a safe haven. If you have gold, right, for example, if you have some physical gold ingots and you have them under your mattress, it doesn't matter what happens in the world, it's pretty solid, right? So that's more of a safe haven, although that has a security problem. So Bitcoin and gold, they're very closely related and they have their own little sort of benefits. So then Darnell, Bitcoin enthusiast, said, I think it's a great time to diversify heavy into altcoins to hold with everyone transferring back into BTC. What's he on about? What does he mean with everyone transferring back into BTC? Who's transferring back into BTC? He's saying that is he saying that lots of altcoin money is moving back into Bitcoin. Well, this is why one thing I do take a look at on CoinMarketCap is the overall market cap of all coins, which currently stands at $12.8 billion. And the reason I look at that is because I want to see the overall cryptosphere growing, right? Now we've got Brock, Bitcoin enthusiast, says, everyone's going to be freaking out. Me, I'm hodling. It says hodling. I think that should say holding. Proofreading required. Dave says, the price will spike to 800 plus change, all right, but drops right before the halving. Why would it drop right before the halving? It might drop before the halving if people think that the actual, I don't know if the halving is a fork. I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is, because it's built into the protocol itself, right? So, unless people are going to get spooked that something's going to go wrong with the halving, maybe that's it. Get rid of this advert here. Right, and then we got Jose says, all the movements in price caused by the halving, Brexit, etc. can't consolidate in the long term if we as Bitcoin evangelists can't convince a greater number of citizens to adopt Bitcoin as a medium of payment. Volatility will be joined by Bitcoin price unless a critical mass of consumers and merchant doesn't use the crypto for its primary objective, payments. Okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And then we have Vance. Maybe a slight bump due to the anticipation of the halving before, but I don't think it will take off until a little while after the halving occurs and the market actually feels the dip in new coins being created. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that makes sense. There'll be a gradual realization and settling in of the new way, which is 12.5 Bitcoins instead of 25. And then we got Nathan says, after the dust settles, I was hoping it holds above 500. I don't see much of a demand increase even with a supply decrease. Okay. Well, the demand for Bitcoin, I would hope, continues bit by bit every day. As more people adopt it, as more people become aware of it. So demand is sort of steadily increasing on its own. And then this is a halving of the supply. So if we had a doubling of the demand, that would have sort of the same effect, all things being considered. You know what I mean? So a doubling of demand would make a massive difference. But that's because people want to get hold of Bitcoin. Whereas I don't think the halving of the supply is going to have as great an impact because it's not people moving out of the existing financial system into Bitcoin. It's new coins being created within the ecosystem itself, right? So Philip wrote quite a bit. He put, this whole thing's a bit like when meteorologists at the Weather Bureau issue a 50% chance of rain forecast. It basically says it might rain and it might not rain. Bitcoin might go up after the halving and it might not go up. I think the most likely scenario is that there will be a minor rally prior to the halving, courtesy of those friendly whales who'll use any opportunity to initiate a little pump they can then dump on. Then the price will go down well below the average halving price. So maybe the low 600s or in the high 500s. Where it will bang around for a while after the whales have collected additional coin post-dump from all those baiting out, shocked at the halving failure. When all the dust settles, and numerous articles have pointed out the obvious that the halving wasn't really as big an event as everyone thought it was, it will start a gradual climb again with the usual volatility we've come to know. That sounds quite wise, actually, what he said there. Pete says, I'm pretty sure 1 Bitcoin will still be worth 1 Bitcoin. And then Chris, it's not me, but Chris says, I think it will go without much change or fanfare, aside from us dorks. And the effects on price will be delayed. How delayed? Not sure how delayed, but it could even be a few months. I'm saying that based on the last halving, which was pretty uneventful until a ways after it, but then there was a lot of exciting events that followed. Then we've got Erwin says, I actually think the price is going to drop. The halving has set many expectations. Lots of new greed money entered the game, convinced that the price will skyrocket and all will be rich. Which it will probably not. A little glitch and a lot of long positions will be liquidated. And the new money will panic. Interesting times ahead. For the price to rocket, there still needs to be buy support. Well, there's buy support all the time. People are buying it all the time. But my point is that if miners can't pay their bills with Bitcoin, they have to sell it to put it back into dollars and then pay their electricity bills and so forth. So that's a constant selling pressure on the price. It's a constant downward pressure on the price because there's a default number of sales going on by miners, right? And we know 3,600 Bitcoins every day coming to existence, but it depends how many of those are being sold. You know what I mean? I'm sure that miners don't sell all of their coins, but they might have to. Yeah, they might actually have to sell them all after the halving. So the question is, if they're generating, say, 25 Bitcoins per block right now, and say they're only selling half of them to pay their bills, well, that's effectively 12.5 Bitcoins being sold every block. You know, that's the downward selling pressure. Then, when the block reward halving happens, and they still need 12.5 Bitcoins worth of dollars in order to pay their bills, well, then they'll have to sell all the Bitcoins that they mine because they still need 12.5. So that won't do anything, you know. But we don't know, I don't know, what proportion of mined Bitcoins are sold immediately to pay mining bills. I just don't know that. So anyway, Kelly says, I think the price will explode to untouchable ranges during the week of the halving. Roughly like $2,500 to $5,000 a pop. Then the bubble will correct, dropping just above 1,100 like in 2013. Sarah says, I really hope it goes nuts and the price gets really, really, really high. I've been promoting Bitcoin for well over 3 years now, and it's my turn to laugh at people. Matthew says, the decrease in supply will finish pricing in over time, perhaps over a month or two. In fact, it's probably already largely priced in. Arturo says, good question. I think you'll get a small increase right before and a small decrease right after. And then Gene says, well, I think pure speculation is going to roof the price. And after the happy pills wear off, well, the dump begins. Over-the-counter markets have the power as we speak. These little exchanges and the price ticker mean nothing to whales. Speculation about the halving day has been abundant these past few weeks, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with the mining operations and Bitcoin's value in fiat. A lot of people are betting big on the halving for an increase in price, and others believe it will just be another day in Bitcoin land. You can be sure Bitcoin.com will be covering the event no matter what happens. What do you think will happen with the price of Bitcoin during the halving week? Let us know in the comments below. Yeah, there's a bit too much of a focus on it in truth. The key thing in the Bitcoin industry is continuing to build the infrastructure and increasing adoption. That's really what matters at the core. So education, key, that's what I do. Development of Bitcoin protocol, that's what Bitcoin Core do. And then you've got infrastructure, which is what all of the technology companies are doing to provide services like what was that one I found out about recently? Plex. What was it? Plex something. Paxful. Paxful, yeah. Paxful.com. So Paxful is, I guess you could call it an exchange, but it's not like any ordinary exchange. They are, they built a platform where you can buy Bitcoins with pretty much any form of value. So that you can use it, I'm on it here. You can pay, so if you want, say, $25 worth of Bitcoin, you can pay with an Amazon gift card, by PayPal or Western Union, or a debit card, and then there's all these other things. You can pay with an iTunes gift card, you can pay with a Walmart gift card, an eBay gift card, Target gift card. There's like 150 different payment methods you can use, right? So they're going for a platform that will allow you to turn any form of value into any other form of value. If you think of it like Shapeshift, which lets you transfer any cryptocurrency into any other cryptocurrency, right? Well, this is sort of doing the same thing with fiat value. So there's all kinds of things like Forever 21 gift cards, Rue 21 business gift cards, all this stuff. This is all fiat value, and then we can exchange all this for Bitcoin via the Paxful platform. So that's pretty cool. So these are the guys that are building the infrastructure. So that's the other bit that's important. So that's what we need to focus on. All right. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Cryptoverse with me, Chris Coney. I've stumbled a few times today reading the news. Apologies for that. Remember to check out cryptoversity.com/podcast. Scroll down to the bottom. Check out the iTunes button if you want to subscribe on your iPhone. Check out the Google Play button if you want to subscribe on your Android device. And click on the Stitcher button if you want to listen to it on Stitcher or via the Stitcher app. You can also make a contribution to the Cryptoverse on that page by using the Bitcoin address or the QR code. That is if you enjoy the Cryptoverse and you want to see it continue. And of course, all contributions are very much appreciated. Remember to check out the main site, cryptoversity.com, the online school that pays you to learn about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. That's all for today, guys. I'll see you next time. So it's bye for now.